All right. Good evening, everybody. As sort of seems to be the case, I don't quite seem to be able to get a weekly stream for this in. Or, well, I say stream, but it's more just a pre-recording and an upload. If you're watching this on Twitch, this is the downgraded version so that people can stream it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, this will be the higher quality version. But I do always look forward to streaming Surviving Mars. I was actually quite upset that I didn't get a chance to record one last week because I was definitely I was looking forward to continuing, particularly where we left off last time. Now, one of the things that happens when I sort of let a week go by, I do tend to forget where I am inside of the game, so I'm going to take a little bit of time and review the position like we normally do. And then, maybe just catch up, talk about what's been going on in the last week or so. I've never really lost sight of the fact that I originally started this series because I wasn't feeling all that great about some of the stuff that was happening at work. And having a really nice, relaxing game, one about a very hopeful theme, that was a nice way of dealing with it. So things are generally a little bit better now. There's a couple things that I think could be better, and I feel like I should probably be doing a little bit more than I currently am. Obviously that's not always my choice, but I guess the one thing that I always want to focus on is that I'm in a much better spot than when I started the series, and I hope that if the same is not true for you, that this provides at least a nice diversion from where you find yourself, and also that I hope things turn out particularly well. I will also say that I'm actually coming off of a weekend where I got a chance to do some of the projects that I'd been not exactly putting off, but I hadn't been able to make some really substantial progress on. So it's been a particularly good week in terms of just personal things, and I figure work will sort itself out, either in the sense that it won't kind of have enough to keep me engaged, but I seem to have enough things that will keep me occupied in my own life that I don't need to worry too much about whether or not the work front's turning out. So, like I said, if things are going well for you, I'm very happy to hear that. And if things aren't going so well, just kick back and we'll enjoy some time on the Martian surface. Alright. Now, I do have power capacity. There is a question as to whether or not we're able to sort of sustain our existing power. I don't think we've turned anything off. I do remember that we had some power problems, though. I believe we have a big surplus as far as food is concerned. We are short on polymers and machine parts, but I believe we have factories for both, and both of them should be generating a surplus. Now, as far as farms, one of the problems we were running into was, we don't have enough botanists to be able to sustain everything. So, we have enough water, but we don't have enough people working on these plots. But that's fine, because we're where we need to be as far as that work is concerned. We did have a little bit of trouble managing our population. Oh, that's right. We got a bunch of new colonists as well because we helped them out. So we're actually in better shape than I thought we would be in that. So let's just take a quick minute. The factory's generating 5.2, and currently we need looks like 3.3. So we're generating a surplus of 2. Our food needs, we consume 18. We should be getting 21 every 2 sols, and obviously we have more than 2, so we should have a huge surplus for food for a while, which is good. Getting a little short on concrete. I'm still reluctant to amplify it, and I think this will just kind of chug along, and what we need to do is we just need to store surplus rather than dig up as much as we can. The only thing we really don't have a firm grip on is electronics, and I have a feeling that the electronics maintenance will be going up over time. So, I think I'm going to focus on filling up my existing factories. It'd be nice if I can build a Martian university. We'll see whether or not we can get away with that. Oh, you know what? I believe with my technology... Oh, right, I didn't take a look at polymers. So, with Forever Young, I believe I no longer need to restrict... I believe I no longer need to restrict my personnel. Okay, one last thing. So polymers, we currently consume 1.3 and we'll be generating 5, so we're in good shape for all of them. That's exciting news. Okay, so moving right along. Alright, I need to find a place to store. Do they just not care about the waste rock? That doesn't seem right. No, this is picking up the waste rock, that's fine. Looks like we've got more than we can handle though. So we'll build another storage. For those of you unfamiliar with the series, the intention is just to do something a little more relaxed. If it feels like I'm taking my time, that is sort of by design. I'm just enjoying the game, and a lot of this is sort of intended. One of the origins of this was not actually just dealing with any issues that I had at work. It was more the fact that I had some people say that they really enjoyed falling to sleep to some of the casts. So I wanted to play something relaxing and something that would be a little bit better suited to that kind of a broadcast, that kind of a goal. So not necessarily a lot happens on these. Sometimes we have quite a bit of excitement, but the main focus has really been about making sure that we just have a good time with the game, and we don't get too excited. Okay, so at some point I'm going to want my metals extractor to get a little bit more active. We will have a surplus with these two already, but I feel like we can do better. Okay, so there is a reasonable debate as to whether or not I want to do electronic production. I think it would make sense for me to do so. This would just sort of make it a self-contained base for a while. And once we do that, once we get at least some kinds of electronic production down, then we consider building the next basic dome. So, with that in mind, the next little while is going to be focused on sort of stabilizing ourselves as far as our resources are concerned, and then we'll sort of move towards expansion.
It's a rough life here on Mars. You can't prepare for addiction.
Despite the great lengths that we go to make it seem safe and as close as possible to home, one's mind is never too far from the dangers, the privilege of... Sorry, just one second. just 1 second. I've got somebody in chat. I'm doing a vodcast. I try to get some of these videos recorded while I sort of take care of the Elder Scrolls stream, but if people stop by, I just want to make sure that they feel welcome and that I respond to them. I do know that cuts out the sound for this game though, so it looks like the person wants a little bit of a chat, so I'm just going to take a quick minute here and let them know I'm doing a recording. They'll still probably want to hear a couple things from me, but I'll be back on top of things in just a moment. Sorry about that. Okay, they saw something that really excited them, apparently. All right. It's a rough life here on Mars. You can't prepare for addiction. Despite the great lengths that we go through to make it seem safe and as close as possible to home, one's mind is never too far from the dangers that the privilege of being interplanetary pioneer carries. We all find our own ways to cope with this pressure. Irma Clark finds it in a bottle. The founder, Irma Clark, has the alcoholic trait. Alcohol is not the answer. Now, I don't think there's any way for me to remove negative traits like that, unfortunately. Oh, I actually didn't think this through properly. I didn't realize that we were still generating electricity, so we're now drawing down on our existing power. Sorry, this is going to be a little annoying for those of you who want uninterrupted sound. I think what I'll do is, if they're really insistent, I'll maybe just speak aloud what the exchange is. Anyways, so one of my higher priorities right now is to get this farm up and running, as well as the production of all of these goods. I am actually reasonably secure in my current position, so I should be able to bring another batch of colonists in if I really feel like it. I bet I'm going to be able to use my mobile phone. That'll stop me from interrupting the cast so much. Glad to see our wind power coming online.
Research complete.
They're sending... I'll let you let your imaginations go with this one, but they're sending in the very famous emoticons of various types of produce. So trying to deal with it in as gentlemanly of a fashion as I can, without raining down fire from above. Okay, so we've got growth stimulators coming up here. Vegetation grows 40% faster. Like people, plants respond to extra attention. HPs are lower. Mars crowdfunding, receive a one-time grant of $1 billion. With the rising media hype about our mission, it is only a matter of social maneuvering to make our first interplanetary crowdfunding campaign a reality. Martian education. Martian University will train scientists, geologists, botanists, medics, engineers, and security officers. College education is always free on Mars. This is a particularly nice one because it will make my already existing colonists more productive. And then we've got mega storage. If there's magic on this planet, it is contained in water. Lauren Isley. So now we get to pick what our next upgrade is. I believe this one will this will get one of our mission goals. So I think I should spend on the less expensive stuff if I can. Resilient vegetation is a little tempting, but Sterling generator is more so because I'm starting to generate the things that requires. An atomic accumulator is also rather tempting, but expensive. So in this case, oh, you know what? Micromanufacturing makes the most sense because of the electronics factory, so. I think they got a little bored with me, which was partly my design. They're very, from what my understanding is, they're a very young viewer, and it's cool that they like my stuff because obviously I'm a very boring individual. But sometimes the age will show in some of the comments, so I don't want to discourage people from participating and being active in the channel, but sometimes you want to make sure that it's something that everyone can enjoy. So I'm curious if this guy's going to have anything else to do.
Sector scanned.
And it looks like we managed to get by without a power outage, so that's good news. Okay, so it looks like this transport is free. Might as well pick up the metal and drop it off. As it turns out, this tunnel wasn't really required, but we'll be in position to kind of get it back up if we need it. Okay, so now we're going to be generating power. Not a lot, but enough. And it looks like we've got sort of a bottleneck in terms of machine parts as well as concrete with regards to the wind turbines. So this is going to be a little bit of a problem, but of course we are going to be generating some over time, so I think I'm just going to let this run on its own. This should be generating more than enough energy, so I'm not going to worry too much about any kinds of losses overnight. We have 2 buildings not working. Our casino complex. Well, that's a shame, but the drones should be able to handle that on their own. I'm a little curious why they were slacking. Should have a little guy working on that now. This is surprising. Oh, there's our little fellow with the electronics. Let's Let's watch the repair while we're waiting for some of our other things to happen. Oops. Oh, he snuck by me. Gotcha. Excellent. All right, casino's back online. It is a little interesting the way that they do the casino in this game, because it really does seem to be an improvement as far as what it will cost you. So if you want to get luxury gaming, gambling, and social, the cost in terms of electronics and polymers is much higher than if you build a casino. But of course the casino comes with a threat that somebody will become a gambler, and that will be bad for morale. So it's kind of neat that in this game you have sort of the same dilemma that a few policymakers face, which is obviously casinos can be very popular for the public purse.
Funding received.
But they're not necessarily the healthiest thing for society. So I kind of like that there's a bit of a trade-off in the game. Now, I have a little bit of a dilemma in terms of what I do. I think there's a reasonable argument to... Oops. Alright, this is not surprising. So what I should have done though was I should have sourced a new place for concrete, because I really don't have that much. I think the problem I'm going to run into with one here is it will no doubt mess up my... Oh no. I can just avoid causing problems for my dome. Now if I want to build a bigger dome, that's another matter. But I think if I build a bigger dome, it's the concrete extractor that's going to have to move. So I think we will start setting ourselves up for the research dome. It's just an early step, but you're asking if the game that I was playing on Tuesday is old-fashioned Elder Scrolls, and they are right, it is Daggerfall. Okay. Now I don't believe the drone hub requires a oh, apparently I was going to build one down here. Well, I suppose it makes sense in a way. So here's how I'm going to handle that. Okay, so this covers the territory that I need. The one thing I don't like is it's a little inelegant as far as the plots are concerned. What probably would have been better is if this, if this drone hub was a little to the right so that I could have a nice overlap between all three, but we'll live with it. So the drone hub won't require maintenance. The concrete extractor requires machine parts for maintenance. So in this case, we'll destroy the building. Unfortunately, we need machine parts to set this one up. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge. And then, of course, we need machine parts for maintenance here as well, so... looks like the person's gone now, so you have my undivided attention. I apologize for that. So I think what we're going to do, we will... One other thing I just want to double check is that I don't have any other better candidates for concrete, but I think this is the best bet. So we're going to find my RC commander. We're going to send him over to set up the drone hub. Another thing that I can do is just tidy up the... So the nice thing here is that this is going to give me some other construction opportunities. In fact, what I can also probably do here is... Yeah, I can put down a dumping site on the old concrete extractor. So we'll start by building our drone hub, and what we're going to do is we're going to set ourselves up to get enough materials to sort of maintain the concrete extractors. So that's going to mean we need some metal, and we're also going to need some metal and some machine parts. So we'll build... I want another universal depot here. And we'll say... We'll actually say 10 for that. Don't quite see the need for the waste rock, but let's get them to work on this. Looks like these brave little fellas are already heading to the concrete extractor. That's a bit outside of their range, but I'm happy they're building the cords. Smart. So of course we're catching up with our wind turbines. We're still going to be down, I think 5 to 5. And we won't be generating any machine parts in the evening, so I think it'll be one day to generate our wind power, and then it'll be another day to actually get our concrete extractors built. And then of course that'll be getting the raw materials for the concrete extractors built. The actual extractors will probably take longer, and that's just because I need to actually get the sorry, I'm trying to find just had a pen to keep an eye on a couple of my things. But yeah, basically I wanted to, oh, you know what, I might, no, they can't. Okay, these do require concrete. The concrete should be a higher priority then, actually. Think so obviously I can afford to get a bunch of metal down. I'll put it there. But after that, I do actually need to get my concrete up and running a little bit faster than I thought I might. Because if I don't, then I'm going to start suffering on maintenance. Okay, 30 is more than enough. Alright, now this is a nice little unexpected bonus. We actually have more electricity at night, so we're going to be charging all the way to the top here. I think I know why. It's because the concrete extractor is offline, but that's not a good reason to be without, or to have a surplus of power. So we've only got a part of a machine part here, so looks like we are going to be waiting. The really tough call is whether or not I want to be bringing more colonists in, because we've got 22 jobs available. Sorry, we have 22 homes available, 18 jobs. Oh, I should also be building a security tower. I think. So it needs concrete, so I gotta wait. That'll get me a start at least. Okay, we don't need soybeans, so this will be making wheat for as long as it needs. Just taking a quick look at seed crops. So I think it would have made more sense for me to build seed crop rather than than soybeans, but it's a little late to change that now. Okay, well, I'm not going to get machine parts off the ground, but at the very least I can send my my transport to go get some more goodies. Looks like we've got some metal here, so I'll get that. We'll just get that sorted right now. Yeah, we'll drop it off here. What else are we looking at? So we've got... I am a bit lucky in terms of all the metal on the ground. That served me well so far. Okay, little polymers sitting up here. Yeah, so I'll be honest with you, I would not have expected concrete shortages to be the thing to do me in at the start of this stream or this broadcast, but looks like that's what we're running into. Set ourselves up for a dumping site over here. I'll just put it off to the sides, not glamorous beside the drone hub, but it'll work. The reason I want to keep focusing on this dome is it takes advantage of 2 science buildings. And again, I really do face a dilemma here as to whether or not I want to put down another batch of colony. I could really only do 1. So a lot of engineers, a few geologists. So engineers, geologists, botanists are really what I'm looking for. Let's see what happens. Now, all of these things I really want to keep. I want to keep out of the colony, so I think these are more liberal than I normally have. Bunch of non-specialists, so those aren't desirable. Okay, so as long as we don't, okay, we'll get rid of that geologist. Okay. Non-specialist senior. Well, let's at least, if we're gonna have a non-specialist, let's find someone who's got some better traits. Fit's not bad. Nerd's not bad. A lot of chronic conditions. Yeah, so I think in this case we'll go for the fit or the nerd, so adult. Alright, both ladies, both adult. It'd be nice if I can move the Shanyang somewhere else, but let's take a quick look at what we've got here. I don't think there's anything else for me to explore, so nothing I can send that rocket off onto. I suppose in the worst case scenario I could try capturing... Yeah. Meteors doesn't make sense. Import greenhouse gases, maybe a little bit more, especially because it gives me some because it gives me some atmosphere. Let's just double check that. So I want toxic rains will start at 25. Yeah, so what I think I want to be focusing on is I actually want to avoid getting to the 25% if I can, until I find a more reliable way of generating atmosphere. So yeah, 100 electronics would be very welcome, but I'm not quite at that point where I want to spend that yet. So here I'm going to wait the 10 units for the exports. I'm not in any particular rush. It is a new day, so hopefully our machine parts manufacturing is where it needs to be. I really do like watching this thing fill up. It's quite rewarding. It's a small little thing, but a chance to get a little more water on the planet. Won't turn it down. So as far as terraforming is concerned, at some point I would like to build a forestation plan.
Sector
The
scan.
thing is, I don't really have any seeds for it, and there is the problem that the soil quality will be degraded by toxic rains. So, I do have another small lake, but I'm not quite ready to build one yet. I don't feel like I need another greenhouse gas factory. I am interested about the carbonate processor and the magnetic field generator, though. So maybe there's something we can find out about in this call. So nuclear terraforming will melt the polar ice caps. Well, it's certainly not a bad way to get water. Seed vegetation and cloud seeding. Advanced vegetation. Okay, carbonate processor. So that's definitely going to be taking a while. I will admit, some of these are coming as a little bit of a surprise to me. So it seems to be suggesting that there are ways to lose atmosphere. Fortunately, that hasn't happened yet. But I obviously don't want to be investing a lot into generating atmosphere that's then lost for one reason or another. Now my next dilemma is I don't have a very good way of getting machine parts to the buildings that I need. So in this case, I'm going to speed things up a little bit. Okay, so we've got a machine part sitting here. Got another wind power coming online. Against my better judgment, I am actually going to upgrade the polymer blades for everyone here. I don't have that many polymers at the moment.
Dust storm approaching.
Okay, this will be a problem. Oh boy, and the concrete will be a huge problem. This is forever going to be waiting, so... I'm going to get him to deliver direct to that universal depot. Just gonna wait till we find the next drone that's gonna pick those up. We're gonna do the same thing to them. Alright. So I want a total of 4 in this before we call it. I am a little concerned that my drones are not working on this one. Oh, that's because I haven't turned it on. Outside drone commander range. That is a little surprising. This is one I would potentially be willing to amplify, but this is a little surprising. Is there a geologist who's unemployed? Well, guess what? Just found a job for you. How far off? Oh, looks like that's ready to launch, so... So I don't feel good about it, but... I am going to amplify. Alright, we are in a concrete emergency. this run. And what I'm going to do, actually, so priority number 1, I need storage for the concrete. Okay, so that's accessible to both. And then I'm going to put a concrete depot here. Now, as far as the transport's concerned, kind of the idea that I have here is to move the transport into this area. Alright, I'm not too worried about the fact that these guys feel like they're overworked, because they're gonna be taken care of before too long. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my transport when it's done. I'm gonna drop off the concrete from here, and I'm gonna send it to the main base. Yeah, we'll say desired amount 0 here, and we're gonna make this one 180. Actually,
Sector scan.
that's not quite what I want to do. I figure a positive amount compared to the... Actually, so by that reasoning, 5 should be sufficient. I think the reasoning is going to be that this is going to create a chain which says that I don't really want concrete here. And they should move it. So I have to... So I have a total of 8 concrete that I need. And I have it in the base. It's just a matter of getting it there. Okay. While we're waiting for that to sort itself out, let's keep exploring. We are, of course, going to have to deal with the dust storm coming up, but I think we've got 700 oxygen, 600 water. We've got a lot of wind power. We actually have enough wind power to sustain us through the evening, so I believe we could even afford to turn off the Stirling generators and we'll be okay. So, other than the fact that our buildings are malfunctioning, we'll be in good shape to deal with what's coming up. I cannot believe I almost killed these people by not putting them down. Oh, that's right. I was waiting for the buildings to become available. Well, I'm committed now. What I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to do seed crops. This is just because I don't really have very high food needs right now, and this will be a nice little opportunity for me to build a nest egg. Okay, so it does look like they are doing the repairs that are required.
New colonists have arrived.
It's going to be a little interesting to see what jobs get filled up with the new colonists arriving, but we should be in decent shape. It's going to be a little tight for living room, but we should be able to get by. The worst case will be if I find out, oh, looks like the water is too low. Yeah, that's because we're now working this farm. Well, we knew this was going to be coming, so... Oh, actually we've already amplified it. That really does mean that I need to build a new extractor then. At a time that I really can't afford to. This is a metal extractor, this is not what I want. I'm gonna wait until we're a little bit better situated before I start sending off. Okay, we're doing all right for...
Resources are low.
I mean, it says polymers are low, but I know we're going to be generating 8 a day, and we consume 1, so we'll be in good shape. Oh, and apparently our water's even down. I will admit I'm a little surprised by that. Possibly the shift from soybeans. Now, I seem to recall that we had a botanist on this ship. Maybe there's a way I can look at this for the whole colony. So, farm, everybody's working at the farms. Just making sure that we don't have anybody working outside of specialty there. So just being paranoid. Again, I don't have a lot of hope for this, but... And seeing as our... Well, this is fine because we're not actually gonna have anything building there until I direct something. In this case, I'm actually gonna shut down the machine parts evening crew, and this is just because I had 3 jobs. That's interesting, actually. So I had 3 jobs available. Didn't seem to make sense to impose the psychological cost. Now it does look like we're doing okay. On the concrete. Nope, no we're not. So they are moving, but it's not quite at the rate that I want. So we'll just see what our friendly little transport does here. Pick up some concrete directly from the extractor, and I think what I'm going to do is drop off some polymers just so that they can do the upgrade. And then for us, it probably makes sense just to go back to base. Alright, we're back to having a dip in water. I insist that we will not have the problem though once the soybeans are done. Alright, they look like they're gonna run out of energy. 1.7 concrete is a little disappointing, but better than nothing, I suppose. So I'm going to need to bring along some machine parts and some polymers. Does look like they were able to get machine parts over no matter, like, without my intervention. Yep. So in this case, I'll just worry about the polymers, which I haven't assigned. I'm also going to verify that, yes, this is not slated for construction, because I certainly cannot afford it yet. And again, we are doing extremely well for ourselves as far as food are concerned. Unfortunately, I don't need the metal. I need concrete, not the other way around. We will send 50 concrete in exchange for the colony of Japan, which currently has 0 food. Alright. Well, they want everything. But yeah, the trade really isn't anything that would entice me. Now there is something of an argument for me spending that money on a research boost. So our mission profile, we've got the terraforming progress as far as the heat is concerned. We're slowly making our way to overall terraforming progress, although that's going to be one of my lower priorities. 60% terraforming progress, or water, I mean, not bad, but that's going to be a little harder for me to get. And then an additional 100 sponsor research for completing the terraforming technologies for that. Obviously, I'm already on my way. So the question is, do I want to spend money to make it so that I get that extra 100 sooner? It's a tempting offer. I am going to need electronics reasonably soon. But as for anything else that I need money for, I think in this case I will outsource. And my reasoning here is that I'm going to make that money back with the Mars crowdfunding. Okay, we did drop off the concrete, right? Okay, so it looks like my drones are just not repairing. I've got 2.9. We'll get 3 in just a minute. So while we're waiting, let's load up on 2 polymers.
Funding received.
Yep, I didn't want 3. is we will drop that off in front of the extractor. Okay, looks like I've got 2 of these running now. I'm not going to amplify this one. Actually, I think we can manage it. I do seem to be... Oh, it looks like we already built a security station, so I was just not paying attention. So we don't need a second one of those. This is really just so I could have an excuse to put officers in the colony. Genuinely perplexed by why my water... Oh, it's probably just the number of colonists I have working here. Okay. Well, I mean, it's not what I'd like to do, but clearly we need to build another extractor. So I am going to need... Actually, you know what? Let me just double check that those generate enough. They generate 1.7 and I am short. I'm actually just short by 1 unit. Okay, so... kind of a reserve. Does this make sense for me to spend so much money in one spot? I think it does. I hate that I just did that. Oh, good, we're already loaded up. So again, this is resisting. It's mostly just because this is going to involve setting up supply lines for machine parts and all of that, so if I can avoid it, I'd prefer to. I kind of want to know what happened to the other polymers. Oh, it's already improved. I'm just not paying attention. Okay, let's find something for my transport to pick up. So we got 17 in the far north. Well, it's not the most exciting thing I can do, but let's get you picking up there.
Sector scanned.
And let's find something else. Okay, looks like there's more going on. So instead, we'll get you just shy of where it needs to be. Actually, you know what? I'm going to reevaluate that altogether. I'm going to take care of the stuff on the far right. Because then I won't need to worry about it. So until a meteor shower hits, I'm not going to have to worry about anything on this side of the map, whereas here I'm going to be exploring all sorts of new locations. So that's my reasoning. I think it's quite unlikely that we're going to get the resources in time for the dust storm, but I'm not too worried about that because obviously I won't be able to do anything with the moisture evaporator during the dust storm anyway. And again, we're back to an even number on water demand. I think, no, it's not that either. There's something that causes the water consumption to fluctuate. Just trying to get people a little more focused on seed production. Man, they really want people working in that tower, apparently. I mean, we'll probably won't breed enough people to start working in that location. It's just a little surprising. Also, this is very upsetting that my one security guard is not actually working in the security building. Okay, apparently now we've got homeless people. There we go. Crisis averted. Yeah, so we really just sit and wait now. We are going to lose some. We're going to lose some oxygen and water production because of the storm. Our wind will be more than enough to sustain us through the storm. Doesn't say how long the dust storm is going to last, but I think we should be in decent shape. The only real thing we're going to be missing out on is our cargo won't arrive on time. But even then, we're not going to, if we only use basically a third of a unit of electronics a day. We've got 27 days, basically a month of waiting out the storm if it comes down to that. It's not the tidiest looking thing in the world, but I guess we gotta live with it. I am a little uncomfortable with the fact that I've got 10 being stored here, so I think I'm gonna move this down to 5. We're slowly getting ourselves back on track as far as the concrete is concerned, so that's good news. The other thing, if water gets particularly desperate, I can always turn off one of the fuel refineries because obviously we've got more than enough fuel. We produce 24. We consume 8. If I build another apartment, I could probably bring in enough people to fill out my manufacturing. Martian University is the higher priority, though. Oh, this is encouraging. Look at that. I didn't think that we'd get to see some vegetation around the lake. This makes me really eager to set up that vegetation building, but I know that's not the right call. We're not really expecting to find anything in these mountainous regions. It's a little bit more about just getting the map clean. Okay, so we've got 10 rare metals to before we export. Presumably that's going to be happening after the dust storm. It's kind of funny to take a look at this food. Obviously, I've let my experiences from previous games make me overcompensate, but the one thing that's a little bit scary about having a surplus like this is, holy smokes, 103. I probably should be... No, that can't be right. That's got to be based on harvests. But yeah, it might make some sense to sort of switch some of this over to seed.
Research complete.
Oh, great. So we got our 8 terraforming technologies, so we get an additional 100 sponsor research. Again, this is just so that I can access technology a little bit faster. Vegetation grows 40% faster. It's not something that's directly appealing to me, but it is something that's going to make me a little more effective in getting some of my other goals. Now, the CO2 jet propulsion is a very tempting one to pick up because it gives me a little bit more mobility in terms of logistics and such. Low G engineering is actually also a very tempting one because of the bigger domes that I can build. And I think in this case I'm gonna... So I've got 2, 4, sort of 6. I'm gonna go for it. I might abandon it later, but if I can replace this with a bigger dome, I think that's a really good opportunity, just because I'm going to be able to put more science buildings down. So I think in this case, while I don't normally like to rush the game, I'm quite happy to speed things up. And this is mostly just so we can get through the dust storm. We can get some manufacturing done. We can get our stockpiles up. And we can consider what the future might hold for our secondary location. It's kind of nice to have these little moments where you've got a plan that you know is working. And I think one of the things that's very appealing about a game like this is the ability to just sort of sit down and watch it happen. So...
Sector scanned.
Alright, so there's the dust storm. Again, we're not too worried about any of this. The leaks are a little bit more of a worry, but I think I've got enough of a workforce to get us through it. So
resources are low.
We'll land here. Okay, our maintenance is going to be higher due to the storm. Oh crap! I forgot. Let's close down those Stirling generators. And yeah, we're clearly doing very well for ourselves as far as the power goes. Now, having this speed does mean that the leaks are a little more dangerous because I'm not closing off any of the valves. But I do sort of want to see how robust my life support systems are to sort of incidents like that. This is one that I would actually be willing to turn off for. This is actually a worry that it's taking so long to get fixed. There we go. So normally I'd be a little bit worried about the water because of course we're in a deficit for that. One way of dealing with it would be to turn off the fuel creation. But the way I'm going to manage that is just by dropping one of the moisture evaporators. Probably put it somewhere up here, and we should be good to go. Of course, it's not the worst thing in the world that this happened. We are lower on our machine parts due to maintenance, but we've been able to stockpile everything else.
Research complete.
Okay, Mars crowdfunding gave me a nice little investment. Okay, so let's reevaluate where we're at. Drone hub might make some sense. Stirling generator makes more sense, I think, though. And then atomic accumulator will definitely be nice because of the surplus capacity we have right now. But I'd kind of like to focus on some of these lighter, easier wins. So we'll start with the Stirling generator. The Stirling radioscope generator is a generator based on the Stirling engine powered by a large radioisotope heater unit. I think one possibility we were exploring when this deposit was exhausted would be to turn this building into a science center. Because of course we've already got our machine parts and we've already got polymers. So as long as I can find a new location to extract rare metals from, we've got electronics manufacturing and then all the spare space. Okay, so again, worrying leak, but we'll get through it.
No. Aliens did not build the pyramids. Human beings built the pyramids with ingenuity and hard work.
You know, I didn't make a note of when I started recording this. I think this will probably be a bit of a shorter one, but okay. And in this day and age, when we value the strength of a civilization, when we value the strength of a civilization not by its ability to wage war, but by its ability to prevent it, our hard work and cleverness have only one place left to take us: up towards the stars, above our superficial segregations and competing with ourselves, up towards a united humanity spread out across many worlds, possibly even stars. I am more than certain that the last several thousand years of our history are but the bumpy road towards a version of humanity where there is no hunger, no war, no needless suffering, where the future holds nothing but opportunity and wonder. And I also believe that we are quite close to the end of this turbulent road. I make it my mission to help us take us through this last stretch, and today I announce my plan in investing the vast majority of my considerable fortune to this endeavor. Gene Roddenberry, one of the wealthiest and most powerful people on Earth, addressing the UN General Assembly. Inspiring. Oh, Reed Roddenberry. So my apologies. Okay, Reed Roddenberry gives out a speech to the UN. I've not seen this event before, so this will be interesting. So we still have a day of dust. Actually going to be a little nerve-wracking on the machine parts, I think. We are supposed to be generating more than we consume, but it sure doesn't look like it by the numbers. The only drawback here, of course, is that we didn't have more batteries to pick up all the extra juice. Oh, that's ugly. Getting a little low, but I think we'll be able to manage it. It is a bit of a worry, though, in terms of refilling our storage. I think some large containers might make some sense. If the morale in a dome is too low, renegades will appear. Renegades have reduced work performance and will cause trouble. Security stations can suppress them for a while, but to solve the problem you have to take steps to increase morale. Well... Cheng Wai. Why are you unhappy? So enthusiast, glutton, renegade, vegan. They work at the casino complex. So what I think I'm going to do... That's not going to work. Oh, he does live in this apartment. Okay, well here's what we're going to do then. We're going to take our renegade. And rather ironically... Oh, I can't assign him. I was going to say I was going to just assign him to the security station. Okay, Martian education's a nice big bonus for me. Because we're going to be able to train people into specializations. So, next up, drone hub seems to make a little more sense. Again, I'd love the atomic accumulator and whatnot, but I want to try and get the cheap tech where I can. Hey, we're 100% on the water. No more renegade? Nope, he's still causing trouble. But apparently he works at the security station now. Tell me more about what's going on. Okay, so dust storm, working at night. Okay, so I think the dust storm was the only thing that was really hurting us there. Okay, and I believe the dust storm is done. Rocket malfunction. The satellite camera shows the rocket you are trying to land in standard Mars orbit. A small jet of liquid is gushing out from the side. Our Shenyang 1 rocket seems to have suffered a malfunction in her fuel tank. There are worries that the rocket won't survive the landing sequence. If the rocket lands successfully, we can fix the malfunction with some polymers. So, jettison the payload then land, or attempt the landing with a full payload. Honestly, I've got a surplus rocket, so there's the chance of losing the gear versus actually losing the gear, so attempt the landing with a full payload. Unfortunately, the malfunction affected our rocket's landing trajectory and threw her off course, resulting in a crash landing. We have lost both the rocket and her cargo. That is a shame, because we really needed that water. So, as a precaution, I'm going to turn off the fuel refineries for a bit. This means that we're going to be running down our surplus quite a bit. But of course, we've got 33 stored water. I do not want to be in a situation where we need water and don't have it. I still think we made the right call as far as the rocket was concerned. Obviously, I'll take the probability of losing the gear because, of course, I have a surplus of rockets at the moment. Oop, apparently, I was not paying attention to my transport, so let's find... Is it really all this here? Must be. So, of course, it's very difficult to justify hoarding this much metal. The difference is, of course, that this is all, instead of being sort of splattered across the surface, this is something that I'm able to exploit whenever I want it. And as a result, just being able to sort of concentrate those resources in one place is the reason I like to make those moves. And again, the whole reason we were fast forwarding was so I'd be able to put down that moisture evaporator again. Is the genius colonist no longer offering a bonus? When at high sanity, so their sanity... Oh, okay, it's the dust storm that stopped them from giving me that, so... I think we're gonna have to wait a little while to get that back up. Okay, so we should be getting our bonus again. That will be an important one for me to remember. Okay, Church of the New Ark is no longer offering me something that I don't want. Right now, that's a shame. Again, it's the problem where on paper we're generating lots of machine parts. In practice, we are not generating nearly enough. And unfortunately, I don't have any money to buy a surplus with. I do believe I set aside a little bit of a reserve just to prevent this from happening, but...
Sector scanned. Anomaly found.
This is a big deal. I've got something for my explorer to work on now. I'm fairly confident in our ability to sort of manufacture our way out of this problem. We certainly have no shortage of... Actually, see, we've got so many polymers. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking some of the night shift. And we're gonna put them into the... Start putting them into the machine parts factory. In fact, I'm just gonna take out the night shift altogether. We can distribute the jobs elsewhere. Okay, that's upsetting. I was rather hoping that my engineers would be doing engineering work.
Research complete.
Okay, mega storage is good. Let's go for subsurface heating is really hard to justify. Both of these are really hard to justify right now. I think in this case I am going to do the atomic accumulator. So storage-wise, if it was centrally located, but I think I've built myself into a corner in that regard. One for oxygen. One for water. Should probably make sure that's properly located. Not ideal, but...
Funding received.
Okay, so we've got a little more wriggle room as far as our funding is concerned. Tech-wise, we're on our way to electronics, which means becoming self-sufficient. I think I'm probably going to need another apartment building if we're going to get into electronics manufacturing. So I'm now building enough to be able to support the new apartment complex. Obviously, we were short on concrete a while ago, but not anymore. It's actually a point where I'm tempted to bring in more people for manufacturing. But before I do that, let's get some Martian education down. So unfortunately, there's no way for me to make the education a little more centrally located. But I have some ideas about how I can fix that. What I can do is I can start making sure that I have more of the sort of unskilled colonists. So what I can do here, start making sure that these colonists wind up in a region where they can train. Okay, so they can already visit the Martian University, that's fine. Say the elderly are probably a lower priority for training, so it'll be nice if we can make it work, obviously, but I kind of want longer term investments in my people. This is rather upsetting that it's taking this long to get myself back on track.
The anomaly turned out to be one of the most well-preserved asteroid impacts in our area. No geologist could ever put a price on it.
Earth scientists had long wondered about the effects of ancient asteroid impacts on Martian climate and geology. Several missions had been sent to gather data about these primordial events, but the landers failed, as if the Red Planet wanted to keep some of its secrets for itself. Generations had to pass until we managed to send a successful expedition to lift the shroud of mystery. With the data we gathered from the site, our colleagues on Earth will have material for years of research. Maybe we would finally find out whether the Martian core was shut down or it died out on its own, and we would be able to predict the destiny of our own homeworld. So, good news for funding and even better news for tech.
Complete.
So, we're a little bit of ahead of things as far as our production are concerned. In the end, I hope there's a little note somewhere that says I designed a good computer. I also don't think I read so history will remember the 20th century for two technological developments, atomic energy and spaceflight. Neil Armstrong. Okay, so this says story bits. I think it's time we start investing in some of these now. Okay, so priority number 1, let's take all of the drones that are with this group. I'll assign them to the central hub. Alright, why are we so far down on water? -4 now. What's going on? I see. Yeah, we're falling apart. Okay, well, at least the polymer factory's up, I suppose. Can afford it. Okay, so rather unexpectedly, it looks like we are becoming self-sustaining a little bit sooner than planned. Big Achilles heel, of course, is that we need more people for the machine parts factory. Generate a lot of machine parts, but apparently we're not generating enough to take us through the edge. I think in this case we are going to open up the evening shift for the machine parts. Okay, I think this is going to be another case where we fast forward to to our next destination. I also think it's time that we opened up the Stirling generators again. The worry here, of course, is that the Church of the New Ark wants concrete for metal. That's certainly a choice. Alright, I will confess to being a little surprised that we're at negative power, although I suppose that makes sense because one of our turbines are down. And I suspect more of them will be following. Okay. So...
Sector scanned.
I was hoping we could pull out some machine parts from there, but no such luck. We do still have stored water, so I'm going to hope that this sorts itself out. I am going to be taking the time to pick up as much metal as I can. Nope. New story events.
Greetings from Earth. Now, I've wanted an audience with the founders of the first human settlement away from our dear blue planet for a long time now.
You see, in you I find kindred souls, souls who do not view my speech at the UN as ramblings of a deluded old billionaire. I'm certain my vision resonates with all of you up there. After all, you're a part of it. My Beyond Earth initiative is pushing several separate projects simultaneously, all aimed at bringing prosperity and peace to a human race spread across the solar system. One of these projects in question is currently in a ditch, the planning of a moon base to mine hydrogen-3 called Aldrin Base. I'm certain I don't need to tell you what an abundance of the material would mean energy-wise. I'd kindly implore you, if your situation permits, of course, to contribute some research capacity and, quite frankly, know-how to the Beyond Earth initiative. Beyond Earth Initiative Tech Unlocked, research the tech to help the Aldrin Base project. So I think... Huh. I actually had not expected us to, I actually thought we already had the story thing, so I'm really curious what those story bits are now. Ah, yes, this is also upsetting. Alright. One thing I can do is add the hydroscopic coating. They are ever so slowly growing seeds, which is pleasing. We're of course producing a ridiculous amount of food, but this takes more water, so. Okay, more apartments aren't really a high priority, but I'm going to need them for manufacturing. It's looking like we're back on track with our machine parts. Alright, good. They're bringing our boys back online, so that should apply to the water extractor before too long. Okay, now this I didn't expect to see. We're apparently still at negative electricity. And we're definitely going to be bringing some more stuff online. This is also surprising that the farm has been abandoned. Okay, that's just ridiculous. why in the world did this place just get cleared out? So it's clear that I'm going to need to produce another wind turbine. I'm actually going to have to produce probably more than one. But before... Okay. So I just want to make sure I'm a little more measured. So, wind turbine number 1. The... education... Actually, no, that doesn't make any sense. The whole point of having batteries is so that we can run this stuff overnight. Oh dear. Now we're not extracting metal. Well, you know what? I think I'm actually going to be able to live with that. Scientist, oh my god. Yeah, I'd be miserable working in that too if I had your degree. Okay. Where are our renegades and why are there renegades? Chiangwai again. I'll admit, I'm not quite sure why they're unhappy. So I think we're just gonna let sort of nature take its course as far as the Martian University is concerned, and what this will mean now. So I've got 19 open jobs. I think in this case, I'm just gonna bring in another passenger rocket. Let me just do a quick audit. Oh, you're an engineer and you can't find work. Okay, get back to work. Okay, so 16 botanists, 13 engineers, geologists. Okay, so we need botanists, engineers, geologists, and officers. I will allow the possibility of people without specializations. We're going to kick out chronic condition. I will allow for seniors, but I'm probably not going to let them in. Okay, so higher priority goes to engineers if I can. Okay, gamers fine. I will tolerate a hypochondriac because they are a... Okay, that geologist is out. Should have looked at what my demographics were. Sexy is a nice trait to have. Saves me from making rockets. In this case, it's a youth, so. And I don't think there's a good reason for why we haven't launched this yet, so up and away. We have jettisoned the cargo of the colonists. Okay, so bunch of jobs, and I will technically have quite a few more coming online. I definitely want to prioritize the electronics manufacturing if I can. So much so that I may not even worry about the funding anymore. I might just stop exporting rare metals and instead turn them into internal production. Of course, that would allow me to move my geologists from the rare metals extractor to the regular metals extractor, and in turn they would be producing machine parts. Now, what's the likelihood that we're going to get this dome up and running? Fairly remote, I think. We will have low-G engineering, which will make it more likely, although I suspect I'm probably going to run into the problem where we don't have enough space in this area. I would be tempted to get rid of this concrete extractor in that case, but we'll see. I will admit this is a little surprising. Oh, but it's because everybody's going to school. I'm just gonna let the colony decide how it wants to do that distribution. So the water situation's only very gradually going to improve, but we've got plenty of time with these fuel refineries, so in this case I'm gonna sit down and we'll wait for the rocket to arrive before I do anything too exciting. Now again, it would be ideal if I can get this dome up and running, because of course that's gonna supercharge my research, but this will help me sort of build some... This will help me build up a bit of a reserve in terms of machine parts before we start running out again. And as far as electronics go, so now we've got a maintenance of 1, production of 1.3, so we're still kind of at a deficit. But the nice thing about this is that we haven't gotten the advantages of... Basically, we don't have our current advantages of, having lots of specialization running into this thing. So as these people start training and becoming engineers, we're going to be in a situation where we can, where we get some production bonuses and whatnot. In fact, we're already producing twice as much as we need, so that's even better. So in theory, we have now become self-sustaining, although I'm a little doubtful in terms of our machine parts, to be completely honest. We also do need to turn the fuel refineries back on to be well and truly you know, well and truly representative of our needs. So we consume 27, we produce 17.
Funding received.
Oh well, we got rid of everyone in that building. You all can't go to university, we need somebody to tend the space bar.
Sector scanned. New colonists have
So I
arrived.
think in this case I'm going to go for a second batch of seed crops. Okay, this is silly. There's no reason a geologist should be working in that job. Also surprised we don't have more people getting an education. Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do a rotation of wheat and seed crops. Just because we've got so much food, it doesn't make a lot of sense to leave that. Okay, well, we got a lot of people who are willing to work in the electronics factory, but I'm at a point here where I want the machine parts to be the prior. Well, okay, this is bad. I'll put up with a lot, but seeing geologists doing anything other than geologist work is not the best. I don't think I'm gonna go for full seed crops. I think we're just gonna occasionally switch them out. Again, the idea here is just to be able to get a little bit of a stockpile, and now this is an important question. I think I want to be keeping these, yeah, especially because we've only got 10 left. I think those rare metals are going to be sticking here for our production.
Sector scanned.
Okay, so they need 3 scientists, resources, new tech, lots of new tech. So let's start by getting the resources. Next up, let's get our transport ship to collect whatever resources we haven't claimed already. I going to need to think about what happens after we exhaust this deposit. Is this scenic enough? So in theory, you're really gonna do that, huh? Okay, well, so let's pretend we did oh, I can't do medium dome yet. I don't think that would work. Yeah. So it's medium dome or nothing. Alternatively, we terraform this. Actually, there are worse fates. What else do we have, though? So this would be dedicated mining. Scenic mining with, oh god, no, this is unquestionably where we want to be. This gives us every reason to stay here. I'm curious what our medium dome would do, but this is the next location. They don't know what to do with the food, drat. Find a place for everything. That's not inspiring to see that inefficiency, but I can live with it. Presumably this thing's going to jam up until we get a little bit of a better flow going here. So we're not too far from low G engineering, and that's good because that'll allow us to set up our secondary location for rare earth mining. Okay, now we can go collect our goodies. It's that lonely polymer. I don't have any drones attached to this guy anymore. Okay, I neglected my geologists. No. Oh, it was metal that they brought back, right? Okay, I'm fine with that, but we are extracting nothing, so we'll shut that all off. Mass unemployment. Oh my god, what do we do? So, no geologists anymore. Yes, geologists here. Open up an evening shift. And this should start to sort itself out. So no specializations. Oop, we've got a little too much. I'm a little worried we might be over capacity in terms of residences. Have I lost my mind? Okay, domes, homes, here we go. My other worry is I seem to be making, like, some of these amenities work really hard. Alright, what are we still looking at here? Clearly, at some point, I'm going to need
Sector scanned.
I'm going to need to get the geologists working at this secondary location over here, but I think for now we'll just admit that we're sort of in a transition phase. Okay, this is a little worrying that we've fallen so low in terms of production. Say this one's a specialist only one. Okay, no, I made the wrong call here, so we'll turn off that shift. Okay, looks like we still have unemployment. Let's get you... Start by getting you in this building. They'll probably, yep. Okay, so now we've got homeless. Right. Okay, so everybody who's working in the polymer factory. Wasn't quite the intended effect that I wanted, but so I believe we now have a deficit of polymer. Oh no, polymer maintenance isn't that high. So one of the things I want to start doing here is moving the non-specialists into a building where they can go to school.
Great dust storm approaching.
Okay, not great. That's going to have some sanity implications. Okay. Okay, so all the seniors here. Actually, no, I can't do that. I was just thinking basically say no specialists in this building if we can manage it. Actually, you know what? Yeah. I'm gonna filter the non-specialists where I can. Yep, Abzu. Yep, so Abzu gets that. Atom definitely wants. So engineers, geologists, that's all good. Yodi, non-specialists, botanists, everybody else can take a hike. And no botanists, medics. Essentially, the idea here is that I've spent all this time building a Martian university, but it looks like it really isn't being used, so I want to make sure that we're in a good position to get a skilled workforce producing the things that I need. Fortunately, we're technically not self-sufficient on fuel at the moment because I am consuming too much. Or sorry, I'm not producing any, but clearly that's only temporary. I want to make sure that we're at least at 600 stored water. And then of course it will be a little bit easier when we get a site set up here, because then I'm going to be able to justify sort of maintaining, water and whatnot. The one thing I do rather wish is if there was a way of sort of automating the delivery of goods between the two domes. I don't think, unless that was added in a patch, I don't think it does that, but can focus on that in the future. Okay, so they're unloading. And we're actually going to send you on to another mission right away. So I don't have the scientists. I don't think I have the officers. I definitely have the geologists, though. So we'll send them off on Project Chariot. Again, I've got no shortage of metals to work with, so no worries there. What's eventually going to happen to this location is we're going to, once we've mined it out, this is going to become a manufacturing center. And essentially what will happen is we'll have sort of raw metals or raw materials brought in, and it'll be sort of doing farming and refining. One of the things that'll be nice about that is we will be able to build some of the terraforming, like the forestation plants. We're going to be able to set those up, and then this can potentially become open farms as well. Okay, so low G engineering, that's good news. Moisture evaporators are very tempting to pick up right now because obviously we're running into water problems, but I think building a second site is going to be more valuable for that. Biome engineering is not actually as important for me right now because we've got more than enough food and it's all located in one spot. So let's say there's a side of me that wants to say it's like I really need to do like the minor research and whatnot, but I think I actually need to be focusing more on things that will improve my ability to operate. Yeah, so all these are way too advanced. the jet propulsion is somewhat tempting here. Because if we can do long-range transportation, that's a big bonus for me. I think probably factory upgrades makes a little more sense though. You know what? As much as I hate to do it, I think I am going to roll ourselves up from low tech to high tech. Mars has an average surface temperature of negative 55 degrees Celsius, with inclinations to fall well beneath negative 130. That was a fairly weak there's actually really no justification for the choice that I just made there, but I'm gonna live with it. Oop, apparently I still have some leftover space, so we'll set you up on a mining operation. Well, not really mining, but you know what I mean. And we'll drop it all off. Okay, now I can build a bigger dome, so let's play around and see if I can get metal and rare metal in the same spot. Probably not. Oh, I was so close. So it seems reasonably obvious to me that we prioritize the rare metal extractor. First thing that we would do is hook this thing up to the grid. We could put down a drone hub. We don't actually need to have a drone hub. Need to make sure it covers everything. So most likely, so there's not going to be much in the north that I take care of. So what I want to do is make sure it's a little something like this. It's a shame I couldn't get it further south, but next up, pipe. I messed that one up. And then clearly I need some kind of a supply depot. So here we'd be looking for, I'd say this one would need like a, you know what, we'll do max. So for now we'd want metals, concrete, food. Sure, rare metals will be a storage spot. Polymers, no electronics yet, no fuel.
The Beyond Earth initiative needs your help. Not with know-how this time around.
Currently we are falling behind schedule on a Rubicon station front, a deep space shipyard tasked with expanding our spacefaring capabilities, and we would kindly request that you contribute metals towards bringing the construction back on track. We ran the numbers and have come to the conclusion that using Mars as a for firing raw materials towards our separate projects could prove far more effective than doing this from Earth, and will speed up the whole process of bringing the project to fruition. A rocket will pick up the resources. To pick up the resources has been sent towards Mars. Every now and then, more such rockets will arrive. If you have the materials to spare, please do. A rocket requesting supplies for the Rubicon Station mega project is headed towards Mars. So I'm okay with them picking up the metals because that's something we have in abundance. They want 200. Well, that's quite a bit, but I can still cover it. So we're not quite ready to build this thing yet. Obviously, it's a fairly high polymer cost. Well, it's a high everything cost, really. And we're going to have the dust storm coming up soon. Now, of course, we see the wisdom of keeping the fuel refineries offline. This, unfortunately, is going to sting, though. We have slightly less stored water than we did in the last storm. And I don't think I have any really good ideas about how we can lower the demand. I think the best I can hope for would be, yeah, this is just a very unfortunate situation. Oh wait, we've got 4? That ain't right. I used to have 6. Okay. This is gonna make me feel dumb, but I am gonna build the drone hub, unless there's a tech that'll give me extra drones. RC Commander, drone assembler. Yeah, I think I can live with all of this. Now what'll be particularly interesting is if the drones start using this tunnel to get the resources that they need. Yeah, there is one other possibility. I'm not 100% clear if that means that we don't have anything they're interested in, or Japan still has nobody on the planet. It's not 100% clear if that means that we just don't have anything that they're, as it says, that they don't have anything that, we don't have anything that they're interested in. What have I wrought? Help. Okay, science dude, get out of there. Okay, so I've clearly made a mistake here. We won't make it a hard restriction anymore. Okay, now I gotta find where some of these people work just so we can find the balance again. Oh, you've all got good jobs. Yeah, see, I actually want people in the university, so I'm not killing that. Where do you work? Polymer factory, of course you do. Good lord, okay, polymer. Homeless and a farm worker. Okay, well. I think we'll do the same thing with the preferences, is we'll no longer make it a strong reject. Hopefully that solves some of the homelessness. Oh no, I'm making it worse.
Sector scanned.
I hate to admit it, but I think this is permanent. Like, I gotta kick people out of school if that's the problem that it's causing. But I do want the Martian University to be working. Alright, so you're homeless, you work at the polymer factory. Really? I'm surprised, to say the least. Okay, well, pains me to do so. Okay, this one's a little harder to work with. So clearly we've got a lot of space in the apartments. In fact, I mean, maybe the argument now is, maybe I should...
There are Earthsick colonists.
Oh, whoa, 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 what's going on here? Why are you mad? Service building was full. No available service. Yeah. So we have pushed our... I think we've pushed our capacity. Oh, have we ever? Okay, so this person is Earthsick, due to low comfort. They've got a diner. That's a little surprising. Oh no, that's spacebar, not a diner. Let's try and do small versions of some of the stuff that we're used to. Whether or not we have people to work them is another question, and of course I'm going to need the polymers to sustain it. This seems like a way that we can try and get ourselves back on track. Okay, I still have one homelessness. And at this point, there's really no excuse for this guy. But yeah, so, I mean, my collection of domes was not a terrible idea at the beginning, but it's clearly not going to be sustainable. So, the funny thing is there's actually an argument for me to set up, to like demolish this dome here, set up a medium dome, to sort of act as a better hub. Ideally, I'd like to tear this one down. Unfortunately, it is going to involve uprooting a lot of my space. So, just to give you an idea of what I'm working with, like a medium dome here would be absolutely incredible. You know, funny thing is, no, see, it would involve destroying my lake though, so that's not gonna cut it. Yeah, there's really no way around it. I need to take down a mountain. I think we're just gonna have to accept that this is my original sin. There is clearly a better design that I can do for my dome here, and it's really just a matter of making sure that I can sort of build around it. My constraints are I need to make sure that it can reach the farming domes. That's a high priority. I need to make sure that there's no service interruptions. That's going to be the killer. I mean, maybe what I wind up doing... No. I think my answer is going to be... See, I can't destroy this moisture evaporator, though. It's going to say rip out a lot of the infrastructure along this line here, so we can definitely rebuild batteries, we can definitely get rid of oxygen tanks, water towers, and whatnot. Drone hub I can't move, though. Okay. Yeah, this thing's just too much of a pig. It's like the most ludicrous hypothetical, like dropping something like this, but I'm either demolishing a mountain. I could, in theory, drop something like here. What's going on here? Storage is full. Then of course there's the other question about passages, which it's not going to let me do. There's a little bit that I can get out of destroying one of those apartments and like dragging it on, so one thing I could try and do is like overshoot here. So this would involve uprooting like my landing pads and all of that, but that's like not the end of the world. So if we drop something like this, this would get rid of a couple of wind farms and whatnot. I could get a, well, you know what? There is an outside chance that that might work. So we get rid of that farm. We draw a line. So if we get a passage, that'll get me how many hexes? So we're looking at about 18. So that'd be something like, pretending we could do this, we get something like, that might be my saving grace, and that would actually solve, like, all of it. Okay, I'm just gonna double check this one more time. Okay, so I'm a little worried about what would happen here. Let's do it. No, I'd have to be here, so. So 19, including inside the dome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So we'd have to drop it right here. I'm going to use these little drones as an Okay, so I would be destroying a lot of infrastructure, but I wouldn't be destroying I would be destroying anything I could replace. What I would get from this would be, I've got a way of connecting people to, yeah, this would be perfect. So essentially what we would be doing is we'd be connecting people to the farming dome. We'd eliminate this one entirely. Maybe not so obvious that they would be able to connect to this one here. I'm not 100% sure about that. Maybe I'd just make this an independent one, I don't know. But yeah, suffice to say, I actually don't hate the idea of ripping a bunch of this up and getting myself set up with a medium dome, which actually has the infrastructure to be able to support all of this. I suppose the good news is that the Earthsick colonist is getting a little more happy. So if we just keep them stranded on the planet long enough, maybe they'll come around. Oh, they're taking my fuel too. That's actually really vicious. Okay. I was hoping to go a little bit longer or to do a little bit more, but I think this is going to be it for me tonight. So we've sort of done everything we can with this dome, and we're a little late moving ahead. But essentially what's happening now, we've exhausted our first set of sort of resources. Actually, at this point, we can safely destroy this building, and we can eliminate the power cables. So yeah, instead of building our science dome, which is really a high priority for me,
Sector scan.
we're going to build a secondary location out here. This is going to be used for rare metals mining. We might have secondary operations for other metals, but that will probably take the form of something like a microdome or something like that. Basically, you know, something to set up a mining operation, maybe a little something to keep people going, connecting to sort of the main dome. But just generally, you know, oh, that's actually quite a bit. You know, nothing too savory, just, you know, get some miners in, get them extracting resources, and move on. We are self-sustaining in a somewhat shaky way. What else have we got? We're definitely going to be doing well once we get some graduates out of the Martian University. We'll be on slightly better ground. But I think probably even now, like in terms of rare metals, we're consuming one per day. So essentially we've got 40 days to get ourselves set up with this alternative dome. This isn't even really that high of a priority, except for the fact that I really want this water extractor up and running as well. So I think we're going to wait out the next dust storm before we do anything with our fuel. This is slightly annoying that I'm not able to get rid of the metals. One of the reasons for that is the Great Dust Storm is actually going to cause us a problem in terms of making sure that we get where we need to go on time. I don't want to send my geologists up and find out that they suffocate because we couldn't land them again. What is it with the unprepared meals? Okay, things are sort of improving. But yeah, I think probably what our next session is going to be about is seeing if we can get, I think the secondary dome, the secondary service dome is actually going to be a longer term priority, because this really is going to involve like taking up a whole bunch of infrastructure. And I generally feel okay about it because whenever it's stuff like oxygen tanks, water towers and stuff like that, we've now got plenty to work with. What is going to be a little more difficult is just kind of getting everything back up and running when we first move it. And of course, I can't afford to get it wrong. I'm gonna get one shot at building that. Okay, this is all unfortunate, but this is gonna be life.
Resources are low.
Are you serious? How? I don't really believe this, but oh yeah, there's one other thing I wanted to try. Interesting. So I can actually afford a medium dome here, but it does involve me ditching the concrete extractor. Alternatively, I need to take out a mountain. A medium dome would be really helpful here, though. So I think we'll face the music. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to. Alright, so apparently you don't know that you can work as an engineer. It's quite literally cutting corners. Not quite ready to salvage that yet, but okay. So of course, the best case scenario is one where I don't cover too much of the deposit. You know what? This is simply not gonna. I'm just gonna sack the deposit. That's the way that's gonna work. It did what it needed to do. I did lose some polymers to it, but 2 polymers is not the end of the world in the grand scheme of things. No, this is a stupid decision because generates dust. I need to be a little more thoughtful if I'm going to do stuff like that. Okay. So... you know, this is going to go away probably. Well, this is the best I got, so I'm just going to have to deal with it. Fair enough. Last consideration then. If I'm going to be getting dusty, can I... yeah, this would be the best. Put down power cables. Get the pipe coverage we need. Priorities then would also be so they get concrete, food. Actually, we already have a concrete deposit, so that's no fuel. They will eventually get electronics. But yeah, so it's not ideal because obviously I'm eliminating a concrete resource for that. But it does mean that this is going to be sort of the start of my science dome. And the nice thing about it is it's going to be a little more self-sustaining. So I can probably have a group of geologists to work this deposit if I want. Oh Jesus, I hope I didn't just kill these geologists. Because they're leaving 9 hours before the Great Dust Storm, and Great Dust Storms tend to last a while. But yeah, so location here for rare metals, technically for metal. Oh, actually, you know what? I might have a solution to that too. There's no real way of making that work. Good news though is it's going to have 35% bonus to science, so the idea is we try and put as many scientists in as we can and watch the benefits of the research come in. Anyways, that is a conversation for another time. Sorry for some of the distractions a little bit earlier in, but I'm always very fond of this game, and I hope you guys had a good time watching some of this. As I said, if you're having a good time, I hope those good times still keep going. If this finds you at a time where things could be a little bit better, I hope that the oncoming week treats you a bit better. I'm going to do my best to be a bit more regular with these, but as always, it's important to take care of yourself, and for me that sometimes means spending the time on other things that I want to do. But it's quite late. I'm going to have a restful sleep. If you're listening to this getting ready to go to bed yourself, I hope you have a deep and restful sleep. Maybe some dreams. I actually haven't had a dream that I've remembered for a while, but who knows? Maybe tonight will be the change. Either way, have a wonderful evening, and we will see you next time.